Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and I love the Skaven, it's no secret. It's a faction that's always been very close to my heart ever since I started playing Skaven on the tabletop since I was around 12. And just like in the tabletop, I play a lot of Skaven in Total War Warhammer. So with this video what I wanted to do is do a collection of mods and showcase the mods that I'm currently using in my campaign with a full Steam collection if everything works as intended. So, all of these mods have been tested, they work together, only one of these mods is faction specific. There's quite a lot to play around with, so let's have a little bit of fun and let's get started, shall we? So this first mod is something that I think a lot of people were expecting me to talk about eventually, Plague Cauldrons for Clan Pestilens Thrones of Decay Edition. This is created by Rox, who makes a lot of mechanic mods, like seriously the dude's a machine, but yeah, you'll get access to plagues with Clan Pestilens, which is going to make your campaign a little bit better, a bit more unique. You're still going to be dealing with a slog there, but it's going to at least give you something new to play around with. This is taking advantage of the brand new plague mechanic which was introduced in Thrones of Decay, so you've got infections, you don't have the same way as exploiting it like the Nurgle factions do, where you can build a building and then refund it. It's going to take a while, but thankfully there's a bunch of buildings that you'll be able to build up and will generate you some infections naturally. Alongside that, battles and everything else will add to it. So just get into battles, start sacking settlements, and you'll get to that threshold. It'll work exactly the same way, but you do have access to a brand new plague. And yeah, it's that simple. But yeah, that's a good thing. The fact is, a lot of people had been wanting Clan Pestilens to have a plague mechanic for a while. They had something, but it wasn't really the plague mechanic that they really deserved, and this is the one that they actually really need in game. It's really cool to see this done as a mod. I'm imagining Creative Assembly would eventually give it to us, but until then Rox comes into the rescue and you can play around with this really awesome mod right now and plague the world to your heart's content. Add it with the next mods that we're going to talk about and you're going to get an even better campaign. As I said, all other mods being showcased are usable with all the factions. This next mod is called Skaven Technology Tree Overhaul and is by Sub Ryan. So what this does is it kind of just removes the clutter, which is quite important because the Skaven tree is all over the place. What it really is good for is if you want to focus around with certain clan features. For example, if you're playing as Pestilens and you want to focus on the Pestilens stuff, or if you're playing as Moulder and you want to focus on the Moulder stuff, you've got that there without needing any other prerequisites. You just need the plans and that will open up there too. One thing that's very important is one of the mods that we'll be talking about, which introduces new units, is also compatible here. I think actually both are. So you're pretty much golden. It just looks a lot better. It allows for more theming, which is going to be so much better. I'm a big Clan Pestilens fan, as you know, so I can focus on that. But I've been running a Moulder campaign recently with all the mods that I've got here. And I'm not going to lie to you, it makes the campaign a little bit less of a slog when looking towards the technology tree. I don't have to focus with the Clan Rat section to get to the Moulder section, which is quite important as I really want to focus on building up my monsters as fast as possible. So this really does make it a lot better for me. It also means that you can get to the last style administration text, you know, the ones that provide you with more control or growth and stuff, a little bit faster too, as you'll only have to focus on getting those free plans which are associated with that. Yes, they still have the prerequisites of needing buildings, but I think it's perfectly fine. This is a much better way to see the Skaven technology tree. It's something different, and in most cases you guys have played a lot of Skaven, so why not try it through a different light? So here's an interesting thing. Did you ever notice that in Warhammer 3, the Crane Gunners, which is basically the weapons team for the Cathayans, can mount on the walls, but the Skaven can't? Well, now you can with this mod. This is weapons teams on walls, and it's by Psychopharon. I'm not sure if I'm mispronouncing that, by the way. So yeah, you'll be able to get a bunch of your weapons teams on the wall, which is pretty much all of them from what I can see, the range ones, barring the mortars. I'm not sure why those ones don't work, but yeah, they don't really need line of sight. Yeah, this is going to make things a lot better if you're defending a lot, because if you're playing Scryer, you're playing pretty much any other Skaven clan, you are dealing with quite a lot of defensive play if you're getting the AI dogpiling on you. This is a very big thing with Warhammer, as you guys are aware, but one big problem stems from that. In most cases, you do have a lot of weapons teams and you're not able to put them on the walls. Now you can, and you can blast your enemies away to your heart's content. It's a relatively simple mod, but it does actually make things a lot better. They do look a little bit weird when they're climbing ladders, if I recall, but I mean, who cares, right? In most cases, you just want these guys shooting down and really raining hellfire. There is a very famously known phrase with a Skaven that says, all roads lead to Skavenblight, and with this mod you'll be able to live that phrase. This is Skaven on their Empire Network, Immortal Empires and Immortal Empires Expanded. So yeah, it makes use of the underway system for the dwarfs that just came in with Thrones of Decay, but yeah, it's active. You've got all of them around, which follows the lore where all these different areas were very famous undercities. They're all little different points here and there, and in general, it allows for travel everywhere. This actually works out quite well because this means that you'll be able to launch invasions with your Skaven to different parts of the world. It's very much that roleplay aspect where Skaven have been known to use the underways and their actual rat warrens to go and attack the Empire if they so wish. Go to Grand Cafe, or if you're playing as Clan Eshin, maybe you can go down to help Ikit Claw, or maybe Lustria to help Stroke. He really needs it. This mod is by Chop Chop, and don't you worry, they've actually confirmed that the AI cannot use this, so it's just there for you as the player to have a little bit of fun and do your little roleplay aspects. I'm going to be using them. I've currently started a Clan Moulder campaign, like I've said, to launch an invasion of Grand Cafe, because I just think that that would be fun. This is the big thing about Total War being such a big sandbox. You can make your own stories, and it's absolutely fantastic when you're able to do that with a mod that really brings in that missing flavor of the Skaven. This next mod is relatively new, but is definitely going to stay in my load order. Skaven Expanded Hero Skill Trees by Mathers. So there's a lot of Skaven heroes, and they're all very much specialists at what they do, but the problem is that they kind of run out of skills quite early to make them quite interesting. So we're not going to go over every skill because there's a lot going for them, but as you can see, it gives you a little bit of variety. You can make your chieftains a little bit more killier or more defensive. You can actually make your Eshin clan sorcerers a lot better in melee combat, so they're worth a little bit more of a damn, which is actually quite important. Make your plague priests have cooldowns, extra cooldowns to your spells, and even provide you with some food, which is actually quite important. Not only that, but there's multiple skill lines here, so you can tailor your characters a little bit better. This means that there's 3 different types of ways to tailor your Clan Eshin sorcerer if you end up wanting to use them more. 2 different ways for the assassins, 3 different ways for the plague priests. This means that you're going to be able to play around a lot more, and I love this. It reminds me of the tabletop on how you could tailor your characters with different item loadouts, which would radically change their style. They could still be spellcasters, but maybe they're just better at melee now, allowing for your melee focused characters to actually be very specialized in defense or attack too. This is a great mod, and I know that this modder has been adding in a lot for all the different races and factions, so once we end up doing other factions, we will likely be talking about Mathers quite a bit. Alright, it's been a while since we talked about this mod. Vile Verminlords, It's Time by Airborne Seals. So yeah, this mod introduces 4 Verminlord units for you to play around with. The Verminlord Corruptor, the Deceiver, the Warbringer, and the Warpseer. We covered this mod when it came out in March. Actually, it's been quite a while, but it's been improved ever since. We can actually see that the tails are now fully animated now, so it's not static. It was a bit of an issue when the mod first came out, but I believe it was a beta back then. So yeah, big single entity monsters that you're going to play around with that do different stuff, because remember, there's different types of Verminlords, which means there's different things that they can do on the battlefield. This is going to be very noticeable as soon as you get them into combat. Some of them are ranged, so they'll start doing damage from quite a long distance away. They don't have a lot of ammo, keep that in mind, but they really excel when you get them a little bit closer. Which, by the way, the Warpseer drops a bomb, and oh my god, the damage there is beautiful. Beautiful is just like the only word I can say here. Stunning, I guess, too. But yeah, absolutely cool units. The fact that they do so much damage. It's a unit that people have been wanting for a while. I know some people want them as lords, but I feel like they make a lot more sense here as just single entity monsters. You never know for the future. It's also something that we're eventually going to get officially, but that's probably down the line, especially if DLC keeps taking 8 months or so. But that's perfectly fine as long as the DLC is good. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what they use as a frame in terms of the rigs and the animations, but yeah, I mean, they look great, they do a lot of damage, that's the most important thing, right? When it comes to campaign, they're spread out quite fairly, as, you know, the Warbringer can be found with the Clan Rats, the Deceiver can be found in the same building as your Clan Eshin units, the Corruptor can be found with your Clan Pestilens units, and the Warpseer can be found with your Clan Scry units, but there is a little bit more here, as you're also going to have to build up the order building, you know, the one that gives you control, as that's going to unlock the unit properly. It makes sense, because if not, then you'd be picking them up stupid early, like tier 3, and I mean, that would just be overpowered, which I know is something that people like, but Come on, right? And for our last mod, we have Moulder's Menagerie. This includes Chimaerats, Stormfiends, Giant Rats, and a lot more. And this is by Chaos Robbie, which, again, very famously known throughout the modding community as being, you know, the dude who decided to make the Old World campaign mod and so on. It's very, very impressive. His resume for the Total War community has been obviously quite cool. And there's a bunch of help that's come from here from loads of very popular modders like Mal, Prop Joe, Xenon, Scorn, among a few others. You can find the credits in the mod descriptions, by the way. But yeah, this mod adds in a bunch of units, as you can see. Giant Rats, a bunch of different Stormfiend variants, which take me back to End Times. A lot of people didn't like the End Times, but I, as a Skaven player playing competitive play, believe me, I love the End Times. From a competitive point of view, they really decided to give us good eating with the Stormfiends. But there's also some other stuff like the Borean Behemoth, the Chimera Rat 2, a bunch of stuff from 6th edition in terms of, hey, we're making these, but they're not actually going to be models. You're going to have to make them yourselves, and they're not going to have rules either, which is a shame. But yeah, I mean, it's what you need if you want to finish off your massive amount of Clan Moulder units. They're available to other Skaven too, so you don't have to just play as Clan Moulder for this. They're absolutely destructive, do a hell of a lot of damage. I'm a big fan of this. Again, Stormfiends, only a matter of time, but why wait, right? Well, eventually we'll get them officially, but you might as well have fun with them now. They could do a lot of damage. Giant Rats are a unit that I've always wanted, which I very much doubt the Creative Assembly are going to do, mostly because, let's be honest, they're not really the best unit. It's just me living nostalgia factor from the tabletop, but it is very impressive. You can see all the damage being done by a lot of units. Some of them have active effects too, which just does a lot more damage. I'm such a big fan. The fact that you get all the different types of Stormfiends also is just great, because I know a lot of people love them. I myself was the biggest fan of the Gatling gun version, because, oh my god, they were just so broken on the tabletop. But yeah, you can have a lot of fun here, and it can really add to that flavor that you've been wanting for the Skaven. Now, you have two ways of playing around this, right? If you play with Clan Moulder, you do get a lot more from it, because obviously you will get the VATs and you will be able to upgrade them and so on, which is going to allow for you to really just have that twisted Clan Moulder campaign that you've probably been wanting for a long, long time. It's definitely very, very cool to see. But there's also the other thing, you can use them with all the other Skaven. So if you want Armored Rat Ogres, if you want to use Borean Behemoths with Clan Pestilens, or with Clan Scry, or whatever, right? At the end of the day, it's your choice. It's use them to your heart's content, and I think that's a really good thing here. I'm a big fan of this. It's one of those essential mods, and it's one that you guys are going to really want to have there just to finish off the Skaven. With this, pretty much the Skaven are done. Barring missing some Lord and Hero stuff for, like, you know, Clan Pestilence, which is something that I've really not stopped talking about, but, you know, maybe one day. Maybe one day. Now, there is a mod that we're going to be talking about that isn't included on this list, essentially, and that's because it hasn't really been updated since May, and unfortunately, from my testing, it doesn't work, which is a massive shame. This is Skaven Clans, the Empire Expands by Stratovarius, which is one of the best mods I have ever seen for the Skaven. It just is a bunch of playable factions, and I mean a literal bunch, loads of different stylings. Obviously, a bunch of other modders have helped out here. There's such a cool thing about this, and hopefully we'll see it updated in the future. The modder is likely taking a break. You know, it's summertime now, people go on holiday, people go on the beaches and so on. I know I'm missing the beach right now. It's stupid hot, it's 5 AM at the time of recording this video, and I should really want to go to the beach. But yeah, I can't talk about Skaven mods without talking about this, and I tell you what, whenever the mod gets updated, it should be linked in the collection, which will be in the description below. I really hope that the collection stuff works. This is my first time trying that. I know some people have been asking for it, and I'll be adding to it every now and then. So it's going to be anytime a new Skaven mod pops up, I'll give it a try, see if it works with all the Skaven stuff, and if it does, dump it there, because it'll be easier, not only for you guys to find from these mod reviews, but also just in general for me, because sometimes I used to just have a notepad on my desktop with the mod names, believe it or not. Yes, I am that useless. But let me know what you guys think about all these mods in the comments below. If there's any that you suggest, let me know and I could check them out. It will be very, very cool. There's going to be a few of these coming out every now and then, but I wanted to talk about the Skaven first because I've been on a Skaven kick lately. I've been rebasing a bunch of clan rats and oh my god, yeah. rebasing a lot of clan rats. Yeah. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you all again very, very soon.